Rumble, you got a date. You got an opponent, which we knew, but how excited are you to finally have it on the books and have Bellator make that announcement?
Very, very, because at first they told me end of September, but they didn't give us a date. So I'm like stressed, you know what I mean, because I don't have a date. But now that I have one, it gives me something to focus on, you know, so I'm super excited about it. Since I signed with Bellator, I've wanted to compete against Nemkov. You know, he's an animal, and now I have the opportunity, so I have to just, you know, shoot for the stars and see what happens.
And what is it about Nemkov that you always wanted to find? Just because he has the belt, or he's a top dog, or what is it?
He's an athlete. He's a fighter. I don't see any holes in his game. He's a complete stand-up fighter. He's a great grappler. I've faced the best of the best, and I feel like this is going to be one of those fights too. So I take nothing away from Nemkov. I just look forward to fighting him. He comes from a phenomenal team. You know, he's got the what do you call him? The last emperor. You know, fedora in his corner. So, you know, that alone is a danger. You know what I mean? Just having that guy in your corner. But my corner is legit too. So I just look forward to testing my skills against them.
Yeah, when we spoke to you after the fight, after your fight against Jose Augusto, you seemed very, you know, disappointed, kind of emotional about the whole thing. When you went back and you watched it, do you still have that same fire? Do you feel like you were too hard on yourself that night?
I mean, who wants to get hit like that? You know, that man popped me real hard. And I'm used to getting hit, but he put something on me. That was the first time I had ever been wobbled, dropped, period. And I've been hit by Alistair, Tyron Spong, and Rashad, and like just the who's who of combat sports. Never been dropped. And this man dropped me. Had me nervous for a second, you know, but thank God he didn't hit me too hard, and had enough time to collect my thoughts and get back in it. But yeah, I don't want to get hit like that. But I have a feeling this next fight, it's going to be a war. So I'm mentally prepared for it.
Yeah, when you went back and watched the fight, were you able to kind of figure out why that happened? Like, was it just rust or technical flaw? Or?
He just hit me. It was good timing on his part. I can't take anything away from him. I'm not going to say, oh, you know, I was doing this and, you know, came up short. No, he timed it really nice.
Yeah, and you stole all the headlines that night for the performance, and then afterwards there was some craziness that went on with the arrest and everything, and we've never heard your side of the story.
We're not talking about that, so why in the hell are you even bringing that up? Thank you. Next question.
I've been asking all the fighters about if they're worried about COVID. Everything's been increasing. Are you worried that maybe this fight may not actually happen because everything seems to be kind of shutting back down? Or if maybe they change it to no fans, will that be a difference to you?
No. I actually liked it when there were no fans. I felt like I was more focused. I didn't have to worry about the screens and just the energy. You know what I mean? I love the energy, but I felt like I could focus better when there was nobody in there. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, but having the fans there definitely gets me going. There's nothing like having a crowd. You know, fans screaming your name and cheering for you. I mean, we're the modern day gladiators, you know what I mean? Every gladiator is happy to be a fan favorite. So I look forward to going out there and putting on a show for the fans.
You know, fighters tend to not want to look past their opponent, but in a tournament situation, you already know who your next opponent could potentially be. Are you keeping an eye on that, and do you have a preference of who you might fight?
No, I'm not. I know what this tournament offers. I know the caliber of fighters that are in this tournament, so I'm not the type to look past anybody. So Nemkov right now is the most dangerous opponent in this tournament. He's the champ, you know, so I have to give all of my attention to him. I can't worry about Corey, and that's my guy. I talk to him like personally. That's my brother. You know, everybody else on the other side, they have to face each other. I don't have to, you know, face them yet. You know, so I just have to focus on the one individual that's going to try and really put a beating on me, and that's Nemkov. I'm not worried about the other side of the bracket. You know, I'm just not that guy to worry about who's next. You know, because if I do that, that means I'm looking past the guy that's in front of me, and I'm not built that way.
Do you think that the champ is the biggest opponent you could face in this tournament? Like, if you get past him, is there going to be a little bit of relief off your shoulders? Like, hey, I got past him at this next round.
No, because if I beat him, I get the belt. And so with the belt comes pressure. and everybody's gunning for the belt. Corey's definitely gunning for the belt. Bader's wants the belt back. I want the belt. Nemkov knows that we all want the belt from him. So it's not just pressure on me, it's pressure on all four of us to get what we want. But, I mean, yeah, I just got to take it one step at a time.
Thank you.
What would your response be to people who say, if Rumble gets past Nemkov, that's the hardest part of the job to finish this tournament because, you've gone the better Bader, and people feel stylistically you probably have Corey's number 2. So what's your response to that, hey, the hard work is not done if I get past Vadim?
No, the hard work is never done. Once again, if I were to get the belt and I have to face Bader again or Corey, man, styles make fights. And even though, I beat Bader, he's improved a ton. Corey is Corey. He's a grinder and just stays in your face. I have to adjust, and I just can't take those guys for granted. And that's just, when people say stuff like that, they're not in my shoes. They're the people that are watching. They just want entertainment. They don't really, they're not in there, plain and simple. So it's a different story when you're in there and when you're not. So I just let them keep talking and keep watching. I love the fact that they believe in me, though. So that gives me a confidence boost.
I'm always curious about this. So the last 10 years, it seems like there's 2 people that a lot of fans say best knockout artists. Rumble, Francis Ngannou. I asked Francis the question, and he said, you know what, you don't get a belt, you don't get anything for being, the best knockout artist. But I want to ask you, do you feel you're the best knockout artist of the last 10 years?
Yeah, but I do feel it's between Francis and I. Plain and simple. I don't feel like anybody else compares to what we do when we actually touch people. Completely different styles, completely different. The way we knock people out is just different. You know what I mean? Francis he'll throw a punch and probably the wind knocks you out. You know what I mean? I'm a little bit more, I want to say, diverse in my knockouts, because I'll try and head kick you. Francis doesn't really do that. He's got these things, and they're the most lethal weapons ever. I do that too, but I just think I do it differently. But when it comes to who is the knockout king, to me, hands down, it's me and Francis. I think I'm the king, but he has to feel the same way too. We're alpha males, you know what I mean? We're supposed to believe in it ourselves. So, I can't say, I just think it's me, but I'm not afraid to say Francis can be the knockout king either. So I just have that much respect for him, and we've all have seen what he can do. So you can't take that away from him. But I don't know. I feel the way I feel. He feels the way he feels. But I just rather leave it up to the fans to decide. If that's going to be a debate forever, then let it be a debate forever.
When the rumors of your return were, starting up, there was like, oh, Rumble as a heavyweight. And fans immediately kind of started the mouth watering about that. I mean, you've been in this position. People were clamoring for you versus Jones. I mean, did you ever think it's like, you know what? That would be pretty epic to throw hands with that man in the cage.
I think it'll be epic to throw hands with any man in the cage, But throwing hands with Francis, I've sparred with him a little bit, but it was more warm up, playing around. But he did hit me. I will admit that. He hit me square between my nose and my lip.
Did you think, oh, this is what it feels like?
You know what? It wasn't like that, a snap, you know what I mean? If you know what I'm talking about. My head didn't snap back anything. It was more of, I felt his weight, behind it, and I moved back. And then I was like, being a knockout guy, I'm like, okay, I see how people get knocked out by this guy, you know what I'm saying? But just his weight alone, of course his power is just incredible, I didn't really feel the power, but I felt like I felt the weight more than anything, and he's got it, obviously. He's got it. If I had a hat, I'll take my hat off to him and stuff like that, because I see why people don't survive his power.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So when you originally sparred Francis, was that after he had already won the
No,
championship?
this was years ago
Okay.
at our old gym, years ago.
Can you talk about how the DC and Stipe fight is kind of what reignited your passion for fighting?
Well, I was fat and happy, and I just saw them fight in a rematch, and I'm a competitor regardless. You know, I have my moments where I want to be your average Joe and just sit around and not do anything, but at the end of the day, when I see somebody competing, I want to compete too. You know, so when I saw those two gentlemen competing, I was just, it brought me back, plain and simple. It just lit a fire under me, and I said, you know what I see is nothing unusual. And I know it, to some people it may not be that much of a important or entertaining fight. You know, when you have guys that are at the highest level, it's a chess match. You know what I mean? It's not just you going in there just throwing punches and kicks. You got to be careful. And what I saw was I saw magic in there when I saw those two fighting, and it just made me want to get back in there and try it one more time. Like I said, I was fat and happy, so I felt like I can hang with them because I was bigger than them. So, but yeah, they were the best in the world. You know, that would get any competitor that truly competes going and want to give it one more shot. So they made me want to compete, plain and simple. I have like no spectacular statement or story, anything like that. Just the respect that I have for those two gentlemen and the fact that I just love competing. And I know I'm young enough to still compete, so it just made me just go for it.
So in your time off, you kind of got more involved with the medical marijuana industry. And then I know you also partnered with Brain Media.
Brain Media, yeah.
So how have you been able to kind of balance both worlds and continue the business growth on that while you're focusing on training as well?
With the help of my best friend, Julie, you know, she helps me out with paperwork, and she's a lot smarter than me, so I let her do a lot of the work. I may be the face, but she's the brains, you know. I wouldn't be able to do it without her. You know, she honestly helps me figure it out, you know. I don't know how I balance it. I ask myself that same question, but it works. You know, I try not to let either business overall take over my life. You know, I try and do a good job of the best I can of balancing things out. Like I said, she helps me out a lot, because if it wasn't for her, I'd probably be at a desk right now doing some paperwork and filling something out or trying to put something together. But she does that. She understands it better than I do. So she helps me out a ton, and we just make it work. I don't know how. Our next interview, I'll let you ask her. She's the mastermind behind it.
Thank you.